The story takes place in Argentina, the second largest country in South America by land area. Its southern part is separated from Antarctica by the sea. In the northeastern part of Argentina, there's a city called Resistencia, the capital of Chaco province, located on the banks of the Paraná River. It's an important cultural, commercial, and educational center. Initial incident. On a day in June 2023, an incident occurred there that drew attention from all sectors of society. A 28-year-old young woman went on a trip with her newlywed husband and then vanished. After extensive searches, no trace was found. As the police delved deeper into the investigation, the mysterious veil of the case was gradually lifted, and the truth behind it left people shocked. Next, I'll tell you about the Cecilia Strzyzowski disappearance case in Argentina. Background of the protagonist. The main character is named Cecilia Strzyzowski, 28 years old. Her parents divorced and she has a younger sister. The two sisters live dependently with their mother, Gloria Romero. Starting from elementary school, Cecilia and her sister lived with their mother. Her father was a drug addict, and her childhood was very tragic. Whenever her father came home drunk, he would beat Cecilia, treating her as a punching bag. Mother Gloria felt heartbroken for Cecilia because she had experienced a difficult birth when giving birth to her, so she especially cherished this daughter. But whenever she stepped in to stop her husband's violence, she couldn't avoid being beaten herself. Over time, the mother could no longer endure such a life and divorced her husband. To completely escape this violent man, the mother gave up on him paying monthly child support, allowing her to keep both daughters with her. Cecilia was obedient and sensible. After graduating high school, she was admitted to the National University of the Northeast with excellent grades. This is one of Argentina's renowned institutions and one of the 6 most important universities. After graduation, she worked in an administrative position at a listed company with a decent income. In 2020, as COVID-19 broke out, many company employees worked from home in isolation. Cecilia also returned home to work remotely. During this period, she had a lot of free time, so she tried installing a dating app. Unexpectedly, she found many men with good conditions on it. Cecilia uploaded her photos, and thanks to her outstanding appearance, she quickly received many suitors. Many men sent messages hoping to get to know each other better. Cecilia was a somewhat proud person and knew clearly what kind of partner she wanted. She ignored the men who messaged her proactively, but one person successfully caught her attention. Unlike others' approaches, this person was very polite, respectful in speech, like a gentleman. Every day he would share interesting things with her. After some time of getting to know each other, Cecilia learned that the other party was named Cesar Sena, who loved fitness and had his own studio. The two chatted very compatibly and discovered shared hobbies. Both liked small animals. Meeting and marriage. In December 2021, the two arranged to meet offline. After a conversation, both were very satisfied with each other and quickly established a romantic relationship. Cecilia believed she had found true love. She brought her boyfriend home to meet her mother. Upon first meeting her prospective son-in-law, Mother Gloria was very happy and warmly entertained him. Since it concerned her daughter's lifelong happiness, she was very cautious. At the dinner table, Gloria tentatively asked about Caesar's family situation. She did learn that his family was well off. Caesar's father was a well-known local political figure, Emerenciano Senna, who started from scratch as a bricklayer. Later, by chance, he met influential people, shared common ideals, and together they formed a union to fight for the rights of disadvantaged groups in society. Emerenciano's influence grew, becoming a figure with clout in politics. Caesar's mother, Marcilla Acuna, was a very thoughtful woman who had participated in feminist movements early on and was active in various political activities. She had strict expectations for her son, hoping he would enter politics and contribute to society. After learning about Caesar's family, Mother Gloria felt worried. She knew the gap between her daughter and Caesar was too large. They were from completely different social classes. After the meal, Gloria quietly called her daughter to the kitchen and asked if she had really thought about being with Caesar. The mother said the family differences were huge. Even if Caesar was sincere, his parents might not accept her. Cecilia seemed unconcerned. As long as the two loved each other, nothing would stop them. Seeing her daughter's persistence, Gloria said no more and just hoped her daughter would find happiness. In August 2022, during an outing, Caesar took out a ring from his pocket, knelt on one knee, and proposed to Cecilia. Cecilia was moved to tears and accepted without hesitation. Afterwards, she shared a photo of herself wearing the diamond ring online, affectionately calling Caesar "my king." A month later, the two registered their marriage and began a new life together. They didn't buy a new house, but chose to temporarily live at Cecilia's aunt's home. The aunt had no children and was very close to Cecilia, treating her like her own daughter. The aunt was thrilled that the newlyweds could stay at her house. She happily cleared out a spacious room for them to live in and said they could treat it as their own home and stay as long as they wanted. Travel and job plans. At the end of May 2023, from her husband's mouth, Cecilia learned that her mother-in-law Marcella had arranged jobs for the two of them, but the location was in Ushuaia, at the southernmost tip of Argentina, 3,700 kilometers away from where they lived in Resistencia. Cecilia didn't understand this. She didn't want to go to such a distant place, and in Ushuaia, she didn't even have a single friend. She told her husband, Cesar, that she didn't want to leave her hometown. They might not adapt to the new work environment. But Cesar felt the job his mother arranged was excellent, with high salary and benefits, 10 times that of an ordinary office worker, and it was something everyone dreamed of. Although it was a bit far from home, the work was very light with plenty of free time. This job was hard-won through his mother's connections, so Cesar hoped his wife would consider it carefully again. Cecilia was in a dilemma after her husband's words. Although the new job was good, she didn't want to go at all. Her friends were all in Resistencia. Going so far would gradually lead to losing contact with them. Seeing his wife in difficulty, Cesar said if she really didn't want to, don't force it. They could first go to Ushuaia for a trip to check out the work environment and decide later. Most importantly, after marriage, they hadn't had a honeymoon yet. This could be a good opportunity to travel around. Cecilia was swayed by her husband's words. She did want to go out and travel, so she agreed to the suggestion. Cecilia told her mother and aunt about her travel plans, and they both expressed approval. Departure day and disappearance. On June 1st, 2023, a Thursday at 2 p.m., Cecilia was packing luggage at her aunt's house, a black suitcase with clothes and daily necessities. The aunt helped while reminding her to stay safe outside. Cecilia smiled and said she was no longer a child and would take good care of herself. That day, husband Cesar wasn't at the aunt's house. He had gone back to his parents' home early to discuss things. At 11 p.m. that night, Cesar returned, and Cecilia's black suitcase was loaded into the car. But Cesar's luggage was minimal, just a red backpack. The aunt felt puzzled and asked why they were bringing so little for a trip. Cesar said they were going far, would stop in other cities midway to rest, and could buy things then. The itinerary: drive to Corrientes to rest one night, then fly to Buenos Aires the next day, stay there a few days to visit famous attractions, buy some daily items, and once everything was ready, fly to Ushuaia in southern Argentina. Since they were driving at night, the aunt urged them to drive carefully. Cesar said they wouldn't drive themselves. The family driver would take them to Corrientes. The driver was experienced, having worked for his parents for many years, so there would be no issues. The aunt could rest assured. Thus, Cecilia and Cesar left home together, officially starting their long journey. That night, the car safely arrived in Corrientes, and the two checked into a hotel. Cecilia was very excited about the upcoming trip. She had never flown before, so she was a bit nervous. She messaged friends asking what flying felt like and searched online for flying precautions. On June 6, 5 days after the couple left home, Cecilia's mother, Gloria, rushed to the police station in panic. She said her eldest daughter, Cecilia, was missing and suspected something had happened 5 days ago. Her phone might be controlled by someone else. Someone was using her daughter's phone to send messages to the family, pretending she was still traveling. According to her recollection, on June 2nd at 1:30 p.m., the day after Cecilia set off, the younger daughter received a message from her sister saying she was about to board the plane. In the following days, Cecilia kept in touch with the family, sharing what she saw and heard, and even discussed where to hold the wedding and where to buy a house. Although she maintained contact, Mother Gloria always felt something was off, because her eldest daughter, Cecilia, usually didn't contact the family much. But these days, she was sending messages very frequently, completely different from her previous style. However, Gloria didn't think much of it. She figured her daughter hadn't gone out to play in a long time, so she was in a good mood this time and shared more. But late at night on June 4, while Gloria was sound asleep at home, she was awakened by urgent knocking. She threw on a coat and hurried to open the door. Outside were two strangers with covered faces. They claimed to be agents and came to inform her that her daughter Cecilia had an accident. Upon hearing this, Gloria instantly lost all sleepiness. She didn't understand why someone would notify her of such news in the middle of the night. When she reacted and wanted to ask for details, the two agents had already turned and left. She followed behind, shouting for them to stop, but they walked away quickly without looking back and soon disappeared into the darkness. Gloria couldn't catch up. Back home, she fell into deep unease. She picked up her phone and tried sending a message to Cecilia, asking if she was safe. Unexpectedly, the other side replied quickly, but this couldn't dispel Gloria's doubts. She asked if they could video call. After a while, the reply came. Her phone camera was accidentally broken from a fall, so she couldn't video call temporarily. She'd call after getting it repaired another day. Unable to video call made Gloria even more suspicious. She then asked the other side to send a voice message. Just hearing the voice would do. After a long time, the other side finally sent a voice clip. Gloria nervously opened it, but the content was strange and completely unrelated to their conversation, as if Cecilia was talking about something else. Gloria's heart sank. Her eldest daughter had really had an accident, so she immediately ran to her younger daughter's room and woke her up. After listening to the voice, the younger daughter immediately spotted the problem, because this voice was from a long time ago that her sister had sent her. Even the tone was identical. Then the younger daughter called her sister's phone, but no one answered. She tried again with her mother's phone, but this time the other phone showed as turned off. Gloria grew more anxious beside her and told her younger daughter to call her son-in-law Cesar to ask about the situation. After a long time, Cesar finally answered, but when the younger daughter asked about her sister's whereabouts, Cesar stammered and couldn't speak clearly. Realizing the problem, the younger daughter then asked her sister to take the phone, but Cesar told her Cecilia wasn't with him and he didn't know where she had gone. The son-in-law's response shocked Gloria greatly. The two had gone out for their honeymoon together. How could they suddenly separate? Cesar then explained on the phone. After the two arrived in Buenos Aires, they had a big argument over some conflicts. During the quarrel, Cecilia changed from her usual ladylike image and physically attacked him, which shocked him. Cecilia said very hurtful words. She didn't like him at all. She was with him because she fancied his property. Actually, she had someone she liked long ago and hoped Cesar wouldn't bother her anymore. After saying that, Cecilia packed her luggage and left. After hearing these words, Gloria felt even more shocked. She completely didn't believe this was something Cecilia would do. She had never heard from her daughter about having a new love. And as for coveting the Senna family's wealth, that was impossible. Cecilia was not a vain person at all. On the phone, Cesar insisted he wasn't lying and said Cecilia was the real liar. Actually, they had divorced long ago. Although they lived together, there was no husband-wife affection. Cecilia was very vain and didn't want others to know about it. She wanted to maintain her identity as a wealthy wife and didn't even dare tell her family. She also required Cesar to continue the act with her. No matter what the others said, Gloria just didn't believe it. Cesar said no more, was silent for a moment, and hung up. In the next 2 days, Gloria and her younger daughter tried various ways to contact Cecilia, but failed. They also called Cecilia's friends, but they all said they didn't know. In desperation, Gloria went to the police station to report the case. Report and initial investigation. After receiving the report, the police immediately issued a missing person notice. Cecilia Strzyzowski, 28 years old, 167 centimeters tall, dark brown hair, last seen on June 1st, wearing gray jeans pants, a dark gray jacket, and gray sneakers with pink patterns. Gloria had seen 2 agents at night, but that night the 2 were dressed in black, faces fully covered, and deliberately lowered their voices when speaking, so their identities couldn't be identified. The police checked the surveillance around Gloria's house, but didn't find their traces, as if they had intentionally avoided cameras. After marriage, Cecilia quit her original job and went to work as a nurse at a local hospital. This job didn't match Cecilia's major at all, but it was arranged by her mother-in-law, who thought her original salary was too low and had no prospects. Cecilia didn't like this job, but couldn't refuse her mother-in-law, so she accepted it reluctantly. Actually, this hospital was funded and opened by her in-laws. Arranging a job for Cecilia was just a matter of a word. They also said this job was much lighter than her previous one, with better pay. But in fact, Cecilia wasn't happy doing it. She had no interest in the hospital work. What she couldn't stand most was that most of the staff knew her in-laws, and she always felt monitored, which made her very uncomfortable. She started complaining to her husband, Cesar, that she really wanted to quit. But her husband didn't understand her feelings and just thought she hadn't adapted to the work environment yet. Not getting her husband's understanding, Cecilia felt even more upset. Not many days later, she still submitted her resignation to the hospital. Upon learning this, Cesar didn't say much. In his view, it didn't matter if his wife didn't work. He wasn't short on money. Even if she didn't earn, his parents would still send him living expenses monthly. After quitting, Cecilia decided to find a job she truly liked. But after submitting resumes for many days, there was no response. No company replied to her. This made her feel frustrated. It was at this time that Cecilia noticed her period was late. Her appetite was poor, and she often felt nauseous. She thought she might be pregnant. She immediately told Cesar, and the couple was especially happy about it. Her husband told her not to work anymore and to stay home to nurture the pregnancy. When her in-laws learned the news, they immediately sent a lot of supplements. They shared the same idea as their son. Nothing was more important than welcoming this child. But unexpectedly, Cecilia's pregnancy was just a false alarm. After a hospital check, it was found she wasn't pregnant at all. The doctor said her pregnancy-like symptoms might be due to excessive recent stress. Cecilia had even thought of a name for the baby. Realizing it was nothing made her cry sadly in Cesar's arms. Under her husband's comfort, her mood improved slightly. Afterward, Cesar proposed an idea. Since they both liked small animals, why not start a business together and open a pet cafe where people who like pets could bring theirs to dine? Cecilia's eyes lit up upon hearing this. She thought her husband's idea was great. The two immediately took action. All preparation work was handled by Cecilia, while Cesar was responsible for the funding. At the end of 2022, the restaurant officially opened for business. The interior was decorated very stylishly, allowing pets to dine together. After opening, it attracted many young customers who came with their beloved pets. The business gradually boomed. Cecilia was busy every day, but enjoyed it. Although tired, she felt she had found the right direction in life and lived fulfillingly. Cesar sometimes came to the store to pick her up after work, which made her feel very happy. But the good times didn't last. The restaurant's appeal faded and customers decreased day by day. The restaurant was always operating at a loss. Continuing would only lose more. In March 2023, the pet restaurant declared closure and was successfully transferred. The money from the transfer was kept by Cecilia. Afterwards, she used this money to buy a commuter car. Under her husband's encouragement, she planned to open a gym. Perhaps due to her in-laws' influence, many people expressed willingness to invest in the gym, but Cecilia refused them all. She used all her savings plus the experience from opening the pet restaurant to successfully set up the new gym. But her mother-in-law Marcella seemed dissatisfied and arranged a job in Ushuaia for her son and daughter-in-law. Cecilia couldn't refuse outright, so on June 1st, she set off to check it out first, combining it with travel. But once she left, she never returned. Investigation developments. 2 days after the police issued the missing person notice, there was still no information. No one had seen Cecilia. Given the family's situation, the police suspected this might not be a simple missing person case. They immediately summoned the missing person's husband, Cesar Sena, to the station to assist in the investigation. He was the last person to see Cecilia before she disappeared. That day, the missing person's husband, Cesar, arrived at the station accompanied by his mother, Marcella, and a lawyer. After the case occurred, involving a politician's family, it quickly attracted media attention. A large number of reporters swarmed in, surrounding the station tightly. Before entering the station for questioning, Cesar and his mother Marcella accepted media interviews outside. Reporters asked many questions, but most were answered by Mother Marcella. She told reporters she didn't recognize Cecilia as her daughter-in-law at all. That person was just an ordinary friend her son met online. Her son Cesar was only 19 years old, while Cecilia was 28, much older, and they weren't a match at all. It was impossible for them to become husband and wife. Marcella thought Cecilia was a vain woman. Her son was seduced by her to be with her. Additionally, Cecilia had faked a pregnancy to deceive their family. This disappearance might also be a setup deliberately created by someone. When reporters asked Cesar if he was the last person to see Cecilia before he could speak, Marcella stepped forward and said her son was indeed the last to see her, but not the only one because she had seen her too. At the time, due to work, she was in Buenos Aires. She personally saw her son arguing with Cecilia, during which she punched and kicked her son, completely like a madwoman. After the argument, Cecilia took her luggage and left alone. Later, her son accompanied her to an event and never contacted Cecilia again. As for why the person disappeared, they didn't know. Marcella suspected this might be a conspiracy planned by someone, because in 10 days, Cesar's father was to participate in a preliminary election activity for counselors. Happening at this critical juncture, it was someone deliberately sabotaging, using Cecilia to create this absurd disappearance to prevent his election. Marcela also said she would soon run for mayor. She thought the people behind these petty actions were truly despicable. Such statements caused a huge uproar. This was no longer a simple disappearance case, but had escalated to political foul play. More and more people began paying attention to this case. That day at the station, there was also a group of supporters of Cesar's father. They tried to prevent media filming. Whenever someone took out a camera, they would rush forward to snatch it and threaten to delete the video. Some even physically attacked reporters. This action also angered other people present. They started arguing and pushing, escalating to fist fights. Police officers who came out to maintain order were also injured by the crowd. The scene descended into chaos. Supporters of Cesar's father even took to the streets to protest, defending the Senna family as victims. Media found the missing person's mother, Gloria. She told the media she had no interest in political matters. She just hoped to find her missing daughter quickly. No matter what, it was Cesar who took her daughter away. The disappearance must be related to them. The police questioned Cesar, but he told them that after arguing with Cecilia, he hadn't contacted her again and knew nothing about her whereabouts. After the case, a large number of reporters and protesters blocked the station entrance, with people holding various views. Some thought the Senna family was innocent. Others thought the disappearance was related to them. For a time, opinions were divided. The police found Cecilia's aunt to ask about Cecilia's daily life. The aunt said Cecilia was a very strong person with high self-esteem. She wasn't at all like what the Senna family said, greedy for money. After the young couple married, they moved into her house to live. Cecilia was a clean person, always keeping her bedroom spotless and took good care of her husband in life. But Cesar was very lazy, didn't clean up, and even disliked bathing. Every day, it was under Cecilia's urging that he would wash up. However, Cecilia never complained. Even when busy with work, she would persist in cooking. Cesar had picky tastes, so Cecilia would change up the dishes daily for him. Seeing her niece work so hard, the aunt quietly reminded her that she should have the other party help share some housework. But the niece seemed unconcerned. She felt cooking for her loved one every day was a happy thing, and seeing her husband finish all of the food gave her a great sense of accomplishment. The aunt then told the police that Cecilia loved her husband very much. In this relationship, her contributions were certainly more than Cesar's. But Cesar's mother never approved of this daughter-in-law. After marriage, she called multiple times urging Cesar to come home. Sometimes even the family driver came to pick him up. Every time, Cecilia would be very sad. She didn't know what to do to satisfy this mother-in-law. Unexpectedly, now Cecilia was missing. She hoped the police could find her quickly. The aunt revealed that niece Cecilia registered her marriage with Cesar on September 16th last year. Notably, on social media, Cesar listed his age as 25 in 2022, but his actual age was only 18. In Argentina, the legal marriage age for both men and women is 18, so they could register. Considering the pandemic, the young couple decided to get the certificate first and hold the wedding later. On the registration day, Cecilia's face was always beaming with happiness. She wore a blue coat. In the local area, this is a color representing luck, also symbolizing the sweetness of their love. At that time, Cecilia's family and friends all came to bless the couple. But strangely, none of the groom's family attended. Even his parents didn't show up. Marriage is a major life event. Cesar was his parents' only son, yet they didn't attend and didn't even make a blessing call. This puzzled many people. Everyone started asking Cesar the reason. He seemed a bit embarrassed. At the time, Cecilia quickly stepped forward to defuse, saying Cesar's parents happened to have a very important event to attend and had already given them blessings beforehand. Since she said so, people didn't pursue further. The aunt said, "Thinking back now, Cesar's parents were dissatisfied with Cecilia as their daughter-in-law very early on. The aunt suspected her niece's disappearance was inextricably linked to the Senna family." Evidence and arrests. The next day, Cecilia's mother and aunt came to the station again. They told the police the Sanoa family had major suspicions. Besides, they brought Cecilia's friend, Miss A, to testify. Miss A said Cecilia had personally told her that her husband had violent tendencies. In May this year, Cecilia and Cesar argued, and Cesar physically assaulted her, even choking her and threatening that if he was unhappy, he would kill her whole family. Cecilia felt very scared and came to her friend, Miss A, crying. She didn't know what to do about this. After the incident, attentive netizens dug into Cesar's social media. They found that on June 6, Cesar did attend an event with his mother, appearing very active with a face full of smiles. Cesar posted multiple photos from the event on social media. In one photo, netizens spotted a clue. After zooming in, Cesar's neck had very obvious scratch marks. An anonymous Mr. B told the police that on June 2, he saw Cecilia standing in front of the Sanoa house. This completely contradicted Cesar's statement because he had said that on June 2, he and Cecilia were preparing to fly in Buenos Aires. At that time, how could Cecilia appear at his house door? Based on Mr. B's testimony, the police had major doubts about Cesar. That afternoon, the police came to the Cesana house for a search. At the time, only his father, Emerenciano, was home. Facing the police's sudden visit, he was a bit at a loss, but quickly reacted, saying the police could search freely, he had a clear conscience anyway. The police search lasted several hours, thoroughly checking inside and outside the Sanoa house. Then they made a discovery on a mattress in a small room. This mattress had many yellowish stains. After luminol testing, the mattress showed a blue glow reaction, indicating these stains were blood. In addition, the police found a burned bag and some prohibited weapons in the house. Also, in the master bedroom of Emerenciano, they found a huge amount of cash. When the police asked Emerenciano where it came from, he stuttered and couldn't answer. The police immediately arrested him. After forensic DNA testing, it was confirmed the blood belonged to the missing Cecilia. Subsequently, Marcela was summoned by the police and became one of the suspects in this case. Meanwhile, Cesar was nowhere to be found. He hadn't returned home, and his phone couldn't be reached. He might have fled out of fear of crime. The police immediately issued a nationwide warrant for Cesar. On June 11th, Cesar proactively contacted the police to surrender. After the family of 3 was arrested, the police asked them where the missing Cecilia was now. Facing the police's questions, the 3 remained silent and said nothing. The police visited neighbors around the Senna house, asking if anything strange happened before and after the incident. But they all said everything was normal, nothing special was noticed. One woman told the police that on June 5, Emerenciano had asked her if she needed a mattress. He had an idle one at home and could give it to her, but the woman declined the kind offer. The police retrieved surveillance from the Senna house door and nearby residences. After careful review, they made discoveries. Around 10 p.m. on June 1, Cesar and the family driver left home to pick up Cecilia. According to the previous plan, they were to drive to Corrientes that night and fly to Buenos Aires the next day. But the surveillance showed that on the morning of June 2, they returned to the Senna house, and it captured Cecilia standing at the door. This matched the eyewitness testimony. Around 10:30 a.m., Cesar left home alone and returned an hour later. During this, the house had a visitor. At 12:16 p.m., Cesar's father returned home and the visitor left at this time. At 1:02 p.m., Cesar walked out carrying a black plastic bag. Attentive police noticed that when Cesar went out, his neck had 3 new scratch marks. 4 hours later, at 5 p.m., the family driver and his wife came to the Senna house together. At 5:12 p.m., the family driver drove a motorcycle away alone. In the evening, the family driver drove a Toyota pickup back to the Senna house, entered the house briefly, and at 7:27 p.m., drove away again. The police suspected that at this point, Cecilia had already been killed, and the Toyota pickup driven by the family driver was used to transport the body. At 9 p.m., Cesar and his parents left home together. Through roadside surveillance tracking, that night they drove to another property of Emerenciano's, far from the city. Further discoveries and confessions. On June 12th, the police searched this suburban property. Upon arrival, they found a couple living in the house, responsible for watching it. After questioning, they said it was already late that night on June 2nd. After the Sina family came, they just sat for a while and left. Nothing happened. Obviously, the couple wasn't telling the truth. The police didn't pursue further and directly searched the house. In a pigsty in the backyard, the police found burn marks. In the ashes, they found a small bone fragment. Lab testing revealed it was a human bone, but due to severe burning, DNA couldn't be extracted. In late June, the police searched a community named after Cesar's father. The reason was that there was a concrete road in the community paved after Cecilia's disappearance. The police suspected parts of the body were buried under the concrete road. The police brought professional construction workers to dig up the road, but besides sand and gravel, no human remains were found. The police conducted a full search of the community. In a nearby river channel, they fished out a suitcase, but it was severely burned, leaving only a frame. The river also yielded a ring, a pair of earrings, a pendant, and a small section of human finger joint. After confirmation by Cecilia's mother, these items all belonged to Cecilia. With these pieces of evidence, the police arrested the family driver Gustavo Obregon and his wife, Fabiana Gonzalez, as well as the couple watching the suburban property. Under police questioning, the family driver was the first to speak. He said that on June 2nd, Cesar suddenly didn't need to go to the airport. They got off midway and he didn't know where they went. That afternoon, the family driver was called back by Cesar. Upon entering, he found Cecilia already lying on the floor without breathing. Then, the female owner Marcela spoke, requiring the family driver to call his wife to help clean the scene. Initially, the family driver refused because he knew it was illegal, but Marcela told him not to fear anything. She would take responsibility if anything happened. She also promised a generous reward. Under the temptation of money, the family driver agreed to help. The couple watching the suburban house also confessed. They said on the night of June 2nd, Cecilia was transported to the suburban house with her mouth gagged. At that time, she showed no signs of life. The watching couple didn't know what happened. They only knew Marcela disliked this daughter-in-law very much. She was unwilling to pass her family property to the daughter-in-law and wanted to leave it only to her son. After seeing Cecilia dragged out of the car, the watching couple was very scared. Marcela threatened the two to keep the secret or they would lose this job. The Sena family placed Cecilia's body in the pigsty behind the house for incineration. The entire process, the watching couple didn't participate. They were too frightened. Under a series of evidence, the female owner, Marcela, finally spoke and admitted her crime to the police. But she said she killed Cecilia herself, unrelated to her husband and son. She very much disliked her daughter-in-law, Cecilia, who was so much older than her son. Their family couldn't accept such a shabby daughter-in-law. Marcela felt her daughter-in-law monopolized her son's love and even wouldn't let him come home. Too selfish. Marcela said she had long disliked her and wanted to kill her to let her know that entering a wealthy family isn't something she could do just because she wanted. After admitting her crime, Marcela began a brief hunger strike. The police didn't believe her words, thinking she was just protecting her son. Finally, Cesar couldn't withstand the pressure and admitted he killed Cecilia himself. He told the police he loved his wife, but his mother always thought she was bad. Under his mother's influence, he also felt Cecilia was with him for his money. Actually, their marital relationship had always been tense. As early as after registering marriage in September 2022, they had plans to divorce. But Cecilia never told her family about it. He didn't understand why she hid it. Later, under his mother's instigation, he developed bad intentions and ultimately did something he regretted for life. Murciano also admitted to the police his involvement in the case, but regarding the huge cash found at home, he never admitted to bribery, always emphasizing it was obtained through legal channels and would be used for an engineering project. As for whether the facts were really as he said, perhaps only he knew. There are rumors that the two agents who appeared at Gloria's house on the night of June 4th might be members of Murciano's opposing faction. While monitoring the family, they accidentally witnessed the murder process. For some reason, they didn't report to the police, but disguised their identities to inform the victim's mother. Aftermath and public reaction. After the case, Gloria was heartbroken over losing her daughter. Many people felt sorry for Cecilia. In July 2023, civilians spontaneously organized a demonstration for justice, demanding fairness for Cecilia and her family. Cecilia's mother revealed to the media that after her daughter's incident, she received a threatening message: "If you dare to act rashly, your other daughter will suffer too." Cecilia's aunt also received similar threatening messages, and their home was harassed by phone and internet disruptions. But no matter what, they would seek justice for their poor child and not bow to evil forces. Murciano had certain influence locally. Even after such an incident, many people still defended him. Additionally, he was very close friends with the current governor of Chaco province. At this point, the facts of the case are basically clear. The case has not yet gone to trial. In early 2024, it will be heard in court. At that time, more details may be disclosed. What legal sanctions the Sena family will receive, we shall wait and see.